Well, hello Nigerians out there. I'd like to welcome you to Television Nigerian, and the program is the Real Campaign. And the Real Campaign, as you know, is our flagship current affairs program on this channel, where we look at issues affecting us as a country. As I always say on this program, that I love Nigeria, I believe in Nigeria, I live Nigeria, I sleep, I eat, I talk Nigeria. That's why I work with Television Nigeria, because Nigeria is our country and we cannot run away from it. And today on the program, we'll be looking at some fundamental issue that has to do with our constitution. Because as it is, starts today, it's like there is this, will I say, a perpetual disregard for the law of the land. There's this lack of obeying the rule of law, obeying the law, or even doing what the law says. So today we're going to critically look at that, and we will use the Senate and the IGP as the Inspector General of Police as for today's program. Remember that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria summoned the Inspector General of Police on 3 different occasions, namely April 23, 2018, May 2nd, 2018, and May 9th. And the Inspector General of Police refused to honor any of those invitations, thereby allowing the Senate to now do a closed-down meeting and decided to say he was not fit for our democracy and declared him a persona non grata. Where the police, they come up to fire back and say, look, you cannot start intimidating us by showing off flexing your muscle while we are doing that. Though they were invited for 2 cases. One was for the way the distinguished senator Dino Melai was being treated at Kalu, and also the case of the killings and all the things that have been happening in their country. So these are some of the things that really played out. And so today I'm going to be discussing with my brother, my friend, is the Ambassador Kalu from IPR. IPR is Initiative for People's Ndubuisi, sorry. I just said Kalu because Kalu is in the name. Thank you for correcting me. Ambassador Ndubuisi Kalu is from the IPR, which stands for Initiative for People's Rebirth. He also heads the Policy Division of African Youth Union Commission and is the recipient of several international awards, including the Distinguished Crown Montana Forum New Leader for Tomorrow Award that he got in Switzerland. Ambassador, is good to have you with us today. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much. Ambassador, straight to the point. Section 88 of our Constitution empowers the National Assembly to summon anybody at any particular time as its oversight function when it has to do with issues regarding Nigeria as an entity. Could be security, could be its appropriation of funds. So they are being empowered. While the same Constitution empowers the police to be in charge of securing lives and properties of the country. So looking at this too, what exactly is your take on the IGP fragrantly refusing to adhere to the summon from the Senate?
Well, thank you very much again, Ernest. It's always a pleasure here.
Yes,
sir. To you here. What is actually happening? The refusal of the Inspector General of Police to appear before the Nigerian Parliament is indeed very interesting. You just mentioned the Section 88 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In 1999
Constitution as amended.
We love to say as amended. No, amended. No, we do not necessarily need to say that because the 1999 Constitution is actually what we have. But we have to clarify what the Constitution actually says. Okay. There is also Section 89.
Yes.
Not just section. You know, these 2 stanza of the Constitution, the Section 88 and 89, actually is what is
okay. The 89, maybe if I read it, say for the purpose of any investigation under Section 88 of this Constitution, and subject to the provision thereof, the Senate or the House of Representatives or a committee appointed in accordance with Section 62 of this Constitution shall have power to summon any person in Nigeria to give evidence at any place or produce any document or other thing in his possession or other thing in his possession or under his control, subject to all just exceptions. Note your grammar, capitalize for emphasis.
Let me explain that. See, it is very necessary that we break this thing down. So
Yes.
the layman will understand what that part of the Constitution says and what our fathers, our founding fathers, what the authors of that Constitution, what they had in mind. Okay, now the Parliament, under the Constitution, under Section 88 of the Constitution, gives it the right to carry out an investigation, okay, into anything it feels threatens the people, the territorial integrity of Nigeria, our sovereignty, our democracy, and any other important issues that the Parliament feels that this is very important. They have the right to investigate. Okay? Now, when an investigation goes on, normally the investigating body has the right to summon some people to ask questions as part of the investigation. Now, that is why Section 89 now comes in. Section 89 now says, whenever Section 88 goes in place, and the Parliament says that there is need for this type of investigation, Section 89, particularly the A aspect of that Section 89, gives Parliament the right to invite, if you may, to summon
any document, someone,
okay,
or
any member of any officer of government or anybody, be it as it may, to aid them in their investigation. Okay? So it is this part of the Constitution that empowers the Parliament, which, as you know, speaks for the Nigerian people. But what is happening actually is that, because I heard about the defense of the Inspector General of Police, and he was citing Section 215 of the Constitution, and also Section 309 of the Police Act. Okay, this is very interesting because he gave an interview, he gave an interview on the days, I guess, I think, one of the days.
was it the one speaking or is
No, he actually, if it's first speaking, he said he was responding to So what he said was that he was citing this part of the Constitution, Section 215, okay, and Section 309. Now, what this section of the Constitution actually says is that the Inspector General of Police, who cannot be everywhere at the same time, at every given time.
Okay.
Now, let me explain. This is very important. All right? That if he is invited to a function, now note this, what I just said, function. Yeah, I'm going to get back to that. Function. That he is permitted to appoint a senior member of the police force in the person of a deputy inspector general of police, DIG, or any other senior person. Absolutely. Must be a senior member of the police force. Okay? To represent him in that function, which is perfectly in order. But what we are talking about now is different from a function. If a court invites you to come for, maybe there's an investigation going on, or the police invites you for an investigation and you do not show up, the act itself of invitation is not, you're not coming for a function. It is not an event. If you have an appointment in court, it is not an event. You are being summoned to aid an investigation. So, this is where the stand of the Inspector General of Police comes in conflict with what the Constitution says, and whichever way you want to look at it, what the Nigerian people say about this matter.
The police were not coming out to claim that I think the IGP is being a witch hunt or it's a black bill. what you have cited, it's very clear. This is what the Constitution says. That's right. And don't forget, this is the same IGP that disrespected or ignored the president's instruction. He was asked to go and stay in Wednesday, and he didn't do that. And now they said that someone in the money has refused to go. First, I want to see, is this not like a slap on democracy?
Well, it is indeed an embarrassment, and not just a slap on our democracy. I tend to look at it in three forms.
Okay.
I tend to look at it this way. It could be that the Inspector General of Police has reacted based on sheer arrogance.
Are you not saying president here? Because don't forget, once upon a time, the head of customs was invited by the same Senate, and he was even asked to come in his uniform, which he refused to accept, and even refused to honor the invitation about 3 times. It was laid to rest, and nothing came out of it. Professor Issei was also invited. Sagi was also invited, and he refused to honor. So don't see president said here that everybody, these guys just feel like the Senate is not strong enough or big enough to even call.
Yes, I was about to explain that. I look at what they've been doing in three forms. It could be as a result of sheer arrogance.
Okay.
It could as well be as a result of ignorance.
Okay.
And it could as well be as a result of our inability of our democracy to interpret what we ought to interpret in the face of the law. I will explain. You see, we already have an antecedent here of the IGP. He was sent by the Commander-in-Chief to to man the situation there. And the reports had it that he left
Under 24 hours.
Under 24 hours. You know, being somebody who is in the force, when you see when you see how important orders are, you need to take orders and adhere to orders. I would describe that as arrogance. Now, we also will not overlook the fact that it could be as a result of ignorance. Okay? Ignorance as to what does the law specify in this regard. Because I believe he has a legal advice. Okay?
He's a lawyer himself.
Okay, he's a lawyer himself. And if he's a lawyer himself, I'm looking at these 3 factors. History will decide which one actually plays. Could be that he doesn't actually know that this is what the law actually says. And you see, when we were growing up, there was one thing my mom normally did, and she was listening there. And if you did something wrong, my mom was asking you what you did, and you started by saying, he said, Nnamdi or Chioma said I should. My mom begins punishing you at that point.
You're not taking responsibility.
You're not taking responsibility. So if Chioma says you should put your hand in the fire,
that's all they always do.
So even when you have legal advisor or advisors, or when you're a lawyer, you really need to have some time to look in there to see, is this actually what the law says? Now, the third aspect is actually what our own democracy should do. In a situation where some people are not, refuse to adhere to what our law says, it is the responsibility of our representatives in parliament to utilize their power, given to them by us, to call people like that to order. So I'm looking at these 3 factors. Each of these 3 factors maybe should be responsible.
Yes, come on, say he owes nobody any apology for doing his job as far as it's concerned. And recently the police have started, news propaganda where they start showing all the things that he has done, even some the Morik, the Muslim people and all that. The ACF has also come out to say that the Senate should be the IGP alone, and they started relating all that he has done. But does all this warrant, or does this excuse you from disobeying the law of the land?
Well, it does not in any way excuse you from disobeying the law of the see, if you've been accused of wrongdoing and you have so much evidence gnawing at you, okay, indicating that you actually did something wrong, even if you come to court to cry wolf and to tell stories that do not make sense, it doesn't stop the judge from saying, hey, aside so and so, or what the law says. Okay, so that's why I say it is the responsibility of our parliament, irrespective of what he is saying. We all know that Section 88 and Section 89 says that they have the right to summon him. And if you look at it in a moral aspect, the parliament is the representative body of the people. Now, you see what Machiavelli would call constitutional principalities. That is, the people lead, the people are the kings in a democracy. The people send you their representatives. Okay? You are the people are the boss. And when the people who sent you there want to hear from you and you refuse to come, it is a blatant insult to the democracy itself.
Wow, blatant insult. Then if you look at this, I was surprised. Is there any place where the IGP could have been right?
Well, the Inspector General of Police may have his own reasons. But then, this is why that part of the law says we ought to invite you. Parliament says there is an investigation going on.
But I think maybe he ignored them because the first part of the summon was to come and explain how they maltreated a senator of the Federal Republic, a distinguished senator, and how he was manhandled and all that. I landed him in the hospital. And the second summon was for the killing. But when it now became a case of George or, okay, I'm not coming, you're coming, they now said, okay, Dino's case has been overtaken by events. Now let's concentrate on the killings. People are dying in their throats. As the #1 security officer of the nation, you're supposed to come and pray first on all this. What does Senate even mean when they say the person is a personal non-grata, so that my audience can understand? When they say the person is not fit for democracy, is not fit to hold any position, it's a personal non-grata.
Well,
and they said this message to the international community.
In fact, let me explain this. You see, if I see somebody coming with a rifle into my house to threaten to kill my wife and my children, I can conclude that the person is an enemy to my family, to my existence. And indeed, that is what it is. Because if the person is coming to my house with a rifle, he is not coming in to celebrate with me and my family that he has a rifle. He's coming there to harm. Okay? Now, if the chief law enforcement officer of the country is being summoned by the people and he refuses to appear, it is as simple as that to say that he is against what we see as our laws, as our structures, as our systems for coexistence. And you can conclude that he is an enemy of the state. He is an enemy to our democracy.
Okay, so, but from their own point of view, they were like that they did not want the Inspector General of Police to be subject to national television, that it negates the rule of law engagement in the security, that they wouldn't have wanted anything. That it's like the Senate wanted him to appear on national television. And I'm of the opinion that he's supposed to talk to Nigerians. Shouldn't he be on the national television explaining what's going on?
It is the Senate, it is the parliament that sets the pace here. Ernest, if a judge says that I want to hear you under a mango tree, for so reasons, I believe you do not need to come to the headquarters of the court to have your hearing. I want you to be under the mango tree. I want you to come on the top of a hill. Ernest, you have no say in that matter. Your duty Absolutely. Your duty is to adhere to the instruction and appear there. So if he thinks, we're just assuming, if he thinks that maybe he will be indicted or he will be looked down upon, we still do not have that as strong evidence. It is necessary that he ought to adhere to the law. Well, this is the second case of that happened. The first one was the case where he was sent to Benue State, and he refused to stay there, and the presidency actually did nothing about it. Normally, what should happen in a classical case is that the presidents have to delve into the matter and call the Inspector General of Police to order and say, let me know why this has happened, with a possible communication to the parliament saying these will be the reasons we cite. But that remains within the jurisdiction of the president, why he hasn't.
Because I remember even he had a meeting before he traveled, shortly before the president traveled to London.
That's right.
He had a meeting with the speaker, the Senate president, and the speaker. And when they came out of the meeting, they said they reported the IGP to the president. Until date, is it that the presidency is supporting this kind of attitude?
Well, I wouldn't speak for the president.
Because not forgetting that the president was also summoned recently.
Yes.
And he has not gone in there, maybe because I don't think maybe they've given him a date to appear yet.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't speak for the president, but you see, these are the things, very funny things happening in our democracy here,
Okay.
which shouldn't be. Okay, this has got to the extent where Nigerians feel that they are being looked down upon.
Okay.
I mean, these are classical things in a democracy. We also have a technology today. We have a CNN. We have a television Nigerian. We have various social network platforms where we see what is obtainable in other democracies, and we ought to actually see, emulate what is happening. But again, Ernest, I think much of the reason why we have this is that most of these people still do not understand that we are in a democracy. Now, if you look at people like the Inspector General of Police, these are people who came into the force, the service, at a time that Nigeria was still in military rule. Okay? Now, you see these guys go for courses, senior officer courses, even in most democratically admired countries. But what actually happens is that the courses they attend have nothing to do with trying to reschool them, if you may, teach them that, hey, you are no more operating in a military style of government. You are operating in a civilian democratic style of government. Okay? There should be some form of resensitization, okay, on the part of the government, for instance, to teach these people and say, this is the way you should act. It is so funny here in Nigeria. You have cases where sometimes the government came up with removing the force in the Nigerian police, with the guys that the force was the problem actually.
Yeah.
I could also cite the situation of with NEPA, when the Nigerian Electrical Power Authority, where the people, the government of the day then decided to change the name to see if they could get better. Most of these superficial things happening in the country, which ought not to be. You don't just change a name, but you go deep down into a problem and see how to solve it. So I think the best thing should be to resensitize these people. Most of these people.
But this arrogance is becoming just too much.
Yes.
Because don't forget that even in January, he was also summoned, and he was given 2 weeks ultimatum to report back to the Senate and find solution to all the things. That was in January. And since then, he has not gone back to. And the thing is that everybody just feels that for the presidency to not say anything, the definite silence, like especially the definite silence of Buhari as the president and his refusal to wade into this consistent abuse of democracy by his appointees sent the signal that they are doing it with maximum support from the president. Because what more could lead to this disregard and disrespect of a constituted authority? Because it shows that even the president doesn't respect constituted authority, because over time, fragrantly, he has refused to. People have been granted bail by the competent court of law, competent jurisdiction, and he has refused to adhere to the case of the Shites leader. It's also the Dasuki's case is also there.
Of the state do not actually adhere to some stipulations. It is the responsibility of Parliament, for instance, to move.
But if without the backing of the executive, can they act?
Of course, the Parliament is actually independent in the traditional can be likened to what normally happens in Parliament, for instance, what is called filibuster. Okay, filibuster is, you see, when you as a legislator wish to move a motion, and which you feel that will be beneficial for the people, okay? And the opposition is so overwhelmingly glaring that you have no other aspect, you have no other choice. Okay. Filibuster is very important. It is not just the legislator just talking like that. You see, J.F. Kennedy said, let us leave this for the High Court of History to judge.
The High Court of History.
The High Court of History to judge. You see, most of what we do, what is done with filibuster is that you are airing your views so that it can be written into history.
It's true that this person spoke either for or against issues like this. Okay, we'll listen more and understand more on this filibuster, you call it. So we'll go on a short break, and when we'll come back from the break, we'll talk a little more on the is not active in the National Assembly, because this is a good reason for them to cry out. Absolutely. A good reason to speak out. But so far, it's been silence all the way. Absolutely. From both sides. So let's go on the break. When we come back, we'll discuss that and other issues. Don't go anywhere. The Ray campaign will continue after this break. You're welcome back to the Real Campaign here on Television Nigerian, and I have my guest here, Ambassador Ndubuisi Kalu, with me. And before we went on the break, you said there's the filibuster. So you were really trying to educate us on what the filibuster is. And like you said, the National Assembly, they've gone very quiet and soft. Because in this kind of a situation, we expected the opposition to come out to really make some noise. Like you said, that's what is obtainable with the filibuster, like you just mentioned, where you really have to talk. But it's like, is it that the minority in the Senate have been shut down? Well, because even the likes of gospel like Fabio before used to be outspoken, it's not speaking. And when remember the Tucano issue with the planes, yes, where a senator stood up to say invoke. You understand? The essential part of the Constitution, invoke this, and instantly he was termed an enemy of state. That they even started a recall process. He traveled to his state and he was harassed.
You see, Ernest, in my organization, the Initiative for People's Rebirth, IPR, okay, you see, one of our main focus is to see how we can resensitize the people, okay, which we call the followership. It may not be standard English, but the people who will go to voting, these people will see as people representing us. You see, we see a case of some people representing us who are not well informed. I told you, there is an opposition in parliament. Now, if you say that the ruling party has more of the people in parliament, and how
but some of these issues were even raised on that floor by people from the opposing party,
absolutely,
from the ruling party.
Absolutely. So that is why it is very necessary that we have well-informed people who will go there. And in a situation where we do not have well-informed people, you see, in a situation where we vote in people into government who come to tell us that we will build roads for you, we will bring in electricity, we will bring hospitals, fundamentals. You see, if you ask me what I'm putting on, I'll tell you I'm putting on a suit. I'm not going to tell you I'm wearing a singlet. I'm wearing underwears. These are standard things.
That needs to go with what you're wearing.
I ought to wear underwears before I put on my clothes. So a politician who comes to say, I'm going to bring in light for you, electricity, good roads, hospitals, we ought to have gotten to that stage where we know that this person is clueless, okay? Because these are fundamentals.
That is my right.
Okay, and that is why you see, when you encourage people like this to get into positions where they should stand and represent get your rights for you, they become confused. Because what is actually happening today with the IGP's stand on this matter should actually not be any matter for seriousness. Wherein the Inspector General of Police says that he's not going to show up. What Parliament should do is Parliament should take it up from there and either suggest or propose that he should be disserviced, or the matter shifted to the courts. But keeping quiet and allowing people to come up on TV shows to talk about it, or waste our time in social media, it's counterproductive.
So what should be done is, since the presidency is not reacting, the National Assembly is not reacting, so they should just leave the man alone.
Well, I don't think that he should be left alone. You see, in law, it is, there is this alleged status. Now, the alleged status is very important because you need to hear from the part of the accused.
Okay.
The Inspector General of Police may be right at the end of the day, who knows?
But he needs to speak to us.
He needs to speak to
us. So can any Nigerian go to court now? For example, since the Senate is quiet, the presidency is quiet, can I go to court and say, look, by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this man, the Inspector General of Police, is answerable to us Nigerians. Right. So we demand that he comes out now and speak to Nigerians, either at the Senate or the Court of Law or national, something.
Ernest, it has never happened in the history of Nigeria before.
No, but there was a time I used to see the lights of
I'm not finished.
Ghani.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
It has never happened in the history of Nigeria before. And it is possible. It is your right as a citizen of Nigeria to say, I decide to take the Inspector General of Police to court for not showing up
At the Senate.
At the Senate, for not showing up to the people who we have sent to represent us. So you have a right to make that move. And if you, in fact, if you feel that you are, you really want to do that,
But this is what is obtainable in the Western world.
Absolutely.
Where anybody can take somebody to court.
Absolutely.
So if a government official is not doing what he is supposed to do,
absolutely, then
I can now say, look, I sue this man to court.
Yes. In fact, you see, the Inspector General of Police, citing Section 215 of the Constitution and Section 309 of the Police Act, which is talking about his appearance or non-appearance for a function. This comes in conflict. This is an injury, if you may. It contravenes what we have as a people in Section 88 and 89. And so, in a situation like this, it is, you can even say it is an insult.
But can the court fire the IGP, or is the Police Service Commission that can do that?
Well, the court has to really liaise with Parliament to actually know what Parliament has in view for this. But the court, going by the fact that we know that nobody is above the law. Okay. You see, it is always very necessary that you look at the law in a very simple way. Break it down to enable you understand what is actually happening. You see, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Vice President, the ministers, the Inspector General of Police, Ernest, you and I, we are not above the law. And so, going by that, the court has the right to say, we want to suggest, or we wish to suggest, that going by this and this and that,
this person is unfit.
This person is unfit to man the security apparatus of Nigeria.
And instantly, how will this work with the presidency? Because the presidency is still part of this.
Absolutely.
And if the presidency refused to adhere to the court order, which for some time they've been doing that, what then should? Is this an impeachable offense?
Well, the president is not directly involved in this.
I know, but apart from that, there are several cases where also the presidency refuses to obey court orders.
Well, if you're talking about the refusal of the president to obey court orders, I think we come back to the job of the Parliament. It is the responsibility of Parliament to say that going by this, car, okay? You start the car, the electrical process takes up and ignites the mechanical processes that bring in the fuel or the gas, and one thing calls the other. Now, in governments or in countries where you see people revolt against the government, what you see as revolutions or breakaway of law of order, it's actually when the people have seen that their representatives, particularly people in parliament, have failed
Okay.
And then it now falls down on people to react, because people must have to react. And this is what I think that these guys in the hands of affairs of this country are not seeing. You see, you continue to push people and push people and push people. It's like Nigerians have been pushed into the wall. We are no more, it's not like
push people to the wall.
Nigerians are now inside the wall. And when things like that happen, people begin to agitate. And when people begin to agitate, at some point, people may react. And this is dangerous for our democracy and dangerous for our security.
But let's also look at, but so far, can we give the IGP some accolades for some of the wonderful job he has done so far? Because some of them are enumerated here. They said the arrest of big-time criminals like Evans, the kidnapper, the mention of the Niger State kidnap specialist Matari Saidu. Just yesterday, they caught the man that they call him Rambo. The guy he goes out on his operation with 2 AK-47. They've mentioned some very, very key successes so far, including the Ofa robbery. But that's compared to the wanton killings and destruction of poverty and properties. Can we say he has caught some good, because it's in the Inspector General monitoring group called the IRT. I think they're responding. They've been doing well. Can we say that?
Well, like I said, you see, what is happening, especially with the security problem in Nigeria, is something that has various angles.
Okay.
You see, when you leave your border, for instance, become porous. Look at what is happening in the United States. Look at how
during the war right now.
Every administration that comes in looks at how are we going to strengthen our borders along those Mexican, the lines of Mexico. You look at Israel. Israel does that as well. Now, if you do not look at your borders, if you do not take care of your borders, and you have an influx of people who you do not want, when they come in,
they now put more problems on
absolutely
the security.
You become submerged. If, for instance, that we have some news that a dam just broke away, somewhere, and this dam will be getting to us in the next 2 hours. In fact, the water will be, the surge will be getting to us in the next 2 hours. If we do not put some things in place or begin evacuation now, if we begin evacuation when the water is maybe 10 minutes to us here, you find out that even if you have the best swimmers here, you become submerged. So the Inspector General of Police may be very keen in solving this problem.
But when it has to do with we have the immigration, we have the customs, we have all that. So if these people don't do their job properly, they are compounding issues for the Inspector General of Police.
That is what I just cited right now, because it seems that our borders are so porous. I've talked sometime here in this in a program here in this station.
Yeah.
The government of Nigeria needs to actually sit down with our neighbors, the governments of our neighbors, and see how we can get into synergy with them, and see how we can have a structured border protection system or surveillance system. It is not something that Nigeria can do alone. It is something that Nigeria must do with countries like Niger Republic, countries like Cameroon, countries like Chad, countries like Benin Republic. Sit down with them and say, hey, we have seen, citizens of countries coming in here. It is causing a problem for us here. How do we get to it? If we do not do that and we expect the police, the Nigerian police, to solve the problem, it is like the proverbial putting the cat in front of the, before the horse, and that's.
But looking at the Nigerian police welfare, let's look at that too. Are they even well equipped for this kind of assignment?
Absolutely, we have everything wrong. In civilized economies, I don't want to use that word developed economies. See, people misuse that term developed countries. You see, when people have music, when people have culture, when people understand their weather, okay, when people have a dressing style, when the people have a type of food. They are developed, okay? But we're talking of civilization here. People who are very civilized, or maybe who have reached a stage where they have become economically, advanced, or technologically advanced, or politically advanced. See, if you go to the United States of America, you see a policeman chase you and chase you and chase you. Wherever you want to go, he's going to chase you there, because the policeman knows that if anything happens to him, his kids are going to continue going to school. His wife is going to be taken care of. Even if something happens to him that requires medical care, he is going to have the best of the care. But in terms of what is happening here back home here in Nigeria, there is no strong welfare system for the police. And these guys are human beings. If I know that something is going to happen to me, or if my children are not going to go to school, or my wife is not going to continue her life after I'm gone, I don't think I will put myself in the line there. Okay? And so the problem of Nigeria's insecurity has so many strings attached to it. And until we start to address this, each and every one of these strings, we cannot just expect the Inspector General Police to act.
Shouldn't that be what the Senate should be doing everything to empower the people, so that when they summon, because I am of the opinion that if you summon me to your office now, and you are not being beneficial to me, yes, I can be at liberty to say, look, what am I going to gain from you? During the Senate, enacting laws, put laws that will equip our police to the world standard, so that they can be, because normally it's supposed to be one policeman to 500 people, that's world practice. But in Nigeria, we have about 200 million people, and the number of policemen we have is not even up to, I think in total we have about 317,000 policemen. How do we even look at that equation? How do you balance that?
Ernest, you said, if the parliament will do so, if the Senate will do so, how can they do so when they do not know? Okay?
Because that's supposed to be their job.
Absolutely. But when you vote in the people who do not know what they are there for, this is what you find. And that is why, you see, it is very, to some extent, it is also advantageous to us that things like this are happening, because it is like a litmus test. Now, very soon, Nigerians will be going to the polls again. If you do not want people in parliament who do not understand what you sent them there to do, if you do not want us to come to this situation again where principal officers of the state do not adhere to calls from us, then it is time to vote the right people, informed people, informed people into government. This is what we do at Initiative for People's Rebate. We are so keen about sensitizing the followership. You see, when you sensitize the followership, now two things happen. The followership now identifies the rightful people, the well-informed people that should be in government. And the people themselves become intellectually empowered, that they themselves as well can go into public office, until Nigeria reaches that stage where we have informed and honest people. In a situation where we just have honest people, but people who are not informed, there is a problem there. In a situation where we have informed people and people who are not honest, there is a problem there, because these two things must go hand in hand. So it is very much necessary that we bring in informed, honest people to mitigate things like this from occurring.
So what we just say is, the Senate, even as they are inviting the Inspector General of Police, they should also be thinking about the police welfare, because in honesty,
absolutely,
you see some of them, even they are so ill equipped that even the commonest thing as a walking talking,
yes,
is shared.
Yes. And that is why you see, when the Nigerian police, I will not talk about the army, because to some extent the army has achieved some certain professional or their welfare status is but the police is so pathetic. And this is why you see, when these guys go to regional engagements like they perform incredibly well, because they have at their disposal the facilities they need, I mean, the pay alone. When you get a nice, handsome pay,
As a police officer, it
gingers you. Your morale gets boosted up. Okay, so I agree with you, Ernest. You see, as we expect our police to act and work for us, we also have to look into their welfare. It's a pity. Nigeria is a country where people even beat their policemen. Do you know policemen die every day in Nigeria?
Nigeria, yes.
Policemen die every day in Nigeria. Nigeria is not like
nobody's sticking up for them.
You know, when you see a serviceman, these people lay their lives down for us. That is the way it is. These people actually lay their lives down for us. These people ought to be respected. These people ought to be given everything they need to function. Okay? And until we get to that stage, Ernest, where the welfare of these people are catered for, I think blaming the Inspector General of Police will not, bring up
any solution.
Absolutely not.
Because even with the fight against the insurgency, the fight against the herdsmen menace, look at the sophistication of the equipment that these people carry. Then you give the policeman a knock on wood kind of gun, the cock and shoot, and you expect him to go out and fight against an automatic weapon, not even well kitted for protection. We watch American films and we see the way their policemen, in fact, you want to become a policeman because they look so well kitted, they're wearing their body armor, everything is on point, their walkie-talkie, universal walkie-talkie is there, they can communicate anywhere, but that is not happening, and then we expect magic from them.
No, it doesn't work that way. You see, in war, for instance, you see, if your enemy is well equipped,
they will definitely defeat you.
And you are malnourished. You already know, you're already dead on arrival there. A very funny case happened in the men were ready to die for the state, and then you see a people who the US just sent there and malnourished and were not so equipped. They went there, and it was a terrible blunder. The forces of Fidel Castro mesmerized these guys, and it became a terrible
massacre,
foreign policy blunder by the United States. So
audience, because we want to say decide to grant them, because now they are bigger than the law, so it's when they feel like now they will go and maybe see the Senate. Maybe I think if I know they are listening, the first PPR will be listening. Maybe they should be able to put it to task and look, okay, you expect us to go and fight these people, but we are not equipped. We need to be well equipped to do our job, and maybe don't you think we should even employ more people into the police force? Unfortunately, mostly me, if you tell the streets.
When you go to most of these economic developed countries of the world, like the United States and much of Western Europe, see people put the flags of their countries in their cars, in their houses. You come into, if you want to go into trouble with an American, inwardly something happens when you have countries like this.
Wow.
This is what we have here.
So inwardly something happens. So it's also, the government to not sit up and take the welfare of every Nigerian, whether it's security man, whether everybody take it to heart and make sure that they have this, and this will grow this nationalistic tendencies. Well, that's been a fantastic one from you, Ambassador Ndubuisi Kalu. I really appreciate you for coming on the program. And it's very short notice because I just called you yesterday. I'm very happy. And when you come on the program, I'm always informed. I get to hear new things and I get to understand new things. It's really a pleasure that you've come on the program. For you watching us at home, you can always send your comments. We'll get to read the comments. We'll get to jot them down so that we can send some of these questions to him where he can answer where appropriate. I want to thank you for being part of the program. My name is Ernest Ekwere and I welcome and thank you for watching. God bless.